And good afternoon, everybody. Chris Bartell here from the Cascade Pacific Council here with today's Wednesday webinar. Super excited to chat with everybody today about summer camp. It's going to be a great webinar, lots of information here. If you missed our last one, we sort of kicked it off a couple of weeks ago with doing a summer camp webinar. And for those of you who don't know, we're actually going to do this just about every last Wednesday of the month. We'll be doing these Wednesday webinars focused on summer camp to keep you up to date on everything that we know at the moment and as things sort of evolve and change. But by gosh, we're looking forward to summer camp being as back to normal as possible. But first, of course, as we do every week here, we are going to dive into the latest and greatest news of the week. And actually, instead of this safety moment here, we did one on concussions a couple of weeks ago. I actually want to switch it up here. And so if you missed that, check it out in our recordings. But what we want to talk about today in our safety moment is that we have an update to our COVID recommendations. So for those of you in the Cascade Pacific Council, please go to cpcbsa.org/COVID and get our latest guidelines there. Nothing super major, but there is a new meeting log we'd love to have you download and utilize and keep track of for 5 weeks for those of you who are meeting. So check that out at cpcbsa.org/COVID. There's a bit of an overview there, just some minor things, nothing too major, but of course, masks are still required indoors. And again, check out the new meeting log. There's some extra questions there we want you to ask your scouts. So check that out at cpcbsa.org/COVID. All right, let's dive into the latest news from around the CPC. Horses, yes, by golly, we have horses. If you haven't heard, you can jump on these horses, take a ride almost any time of the year. It's fantastic. So we've got some great opportunities here first of all, for the young scouts, ages 6 to 9. Little Buckaroo is back. This is awesome. Super fun opportunity to do a 2-hour horsemanship class. You can go to cpcbsa.org/horses and sign up. We have these awesome opportunities on the weekends now all the way through May, basically right up into summer camp. And it's an awesome opportunity for little scouts to get out there and jump on some horses, meet our incredible horse herd and meet our wranglers. It is a hoot. So check that out at cpcbsa.org/horses, where you will also see weekend horse rides. So you need to book this horse ride by January 31st and you'll get $15 off for a half day ride, $30 off for a full day ride. It is a super awesome opportunity for any youth ages 10 and up and families to join in, meet our horses and have a half day or full day ride. It is a fantastic time again to meet the horses and meet our wranglers, and you will have a great time. Hold on here. Let's go into, I've got a technical issue here. Let me dive into that for 1 second here. We're trying to get some folks in on our webinar here and running into a couple of technical difficulties. Let's see if that works. And so just as an FYI, Todd, this is still not, for some reason, it's not letting you in. I'm not sure really why. So anyway, we'll get back into that in just a second, work on our technical difficulties while we go over the latest news. So some upcoming events here. We have lots going on. For those of you who have never done Super Weekend before, you got to get in on this. This is awesome, a super awesome opportunity to check out our camps, in this case, Butte Creek Scout Ranch and Camp Meriwether. It is kind of like summer camp light. It is a fantastic weekend where we open up a lot of the programs and you just get to have a great time. So you basically go on a weekend camp out with your scout unit and you get to play with a lot of the toys. So check that out at cpcbsa.org. There are multiple weekends. So you go into the Adventures tab and then go to Super Weekends. There's Super Weekends this year for Cub Scouts, our first time ever doing that. And also for of course, the older Scouts can check that out too. There are multiple weekends available. So get in on it because these are filling up fast and have been. So there's not a lot of opportunity left. So you're going to want to talk to your scout unit and jump in on that. Also for Scouts BSA, for you older Scouts, great opportunity to earn some merit badges with our Meriting with the Experts program. This is with our friends at Evergreen Aviation and Space Museum. They are hosting multiple merit badge opportunities for the next few months. So go to cpcbsa.org/calendar for that. You can see here, we've got American labor, engineering, aviation, and sustainability merit badges. Some are complete merit badge courses, some are partials. So you'll want to get in on that as well. And also, if you don't know about this yet, spring scouting for food. So a lot of you out there go and do scouting for food during the wintertime, which is super fantastic, super awesome. And what we're actually asking folks to do, asking scouts and units to do, is actually join us this spring. So we're launching this year. The first weekend of March is going to be scouting for food from here on out. The main one that we do, of course, scout units who want to do it in wintertime, absolutely fantastic. Do it then too. I know our scout unit does, and we have a blast. So you can go to cpcbsa.org/SFF, that's Sam Frank, and you can sign up there to receive your actual door hangers. We want to know how many you want so we can get these printed out and get them in your hands for spring scouting for food. And for our scout unit, we're going to jump out there and hang these door hangers the week before scouting for food. And some units do it 2 weeks beforehand. Super, super awesome opportunity to serve. And it was really at the request of these food banks and food pantries to help them out and replenish their supplies during spring. So join us for that at cpcbsa.org/SFF. Also, save the dates. Here are some important dates. Wood Badge is coming up in September. World Jamboree is coming up next year, and National Jamboree is coming up next year. We've talked a lot about this. We actually had a Wood Badge webinar last week, so you'll want to check that out at cpcbsa.org. You can actually see it there on the homepage, and you can watch all about Wood Badge. It's an awesome opportunity to learn and grow and get some incredible leadership skills for adults. It's an adult-only program. It is going to be fantastic. So you get the details there. We may be making a few modifications in dates and things like that, so we're looking at that, but think of it as September, and so you can save the date for that. Also, World Jamboree, check it out at wsj2023.us. There's a new website for that. This is an amazing time to meet tens of thousands of scouts from across the world. It is going to be incredible. And National Jamboree is also happening in 2023 in July. It is at the Summit Bechtel Reserve. If you haven't seen that, I've said it before, I'll say it again. It is an incredible adventure. You can find out more about that at cpcbsa.org/jamboree, where you meet scouts from all over the nation. It's an awesome, awesome time. Also, save the dates for Outdoor Skills Leadership Institute in May. This is another adult-only opportunity to learn about becoming a better leader and an instructor, actually, for riflery, for leave no trace, for climbing, a whole bunch of activities. Really great. And you'll get to meet lots of other scouts, scout adults, some scouters that are interested in the same kind of thing. So this is a great opportunity, and we are opening registration here soon. So check that out, or be aware of that, and watch your email, because we'll send out emails about this. All right, in other news, we're going to go through this real quick because I know you want to get to the summer camp webinar. That's really why you're here. So a couple things. Units are starting up their Camp for All campaigns. This is where we raise money for all of our camps, for camp programs. It's camp specific and for camp scholarships. So you can go to cpcbsa.org/start-camp-for-all. That's the number 4, Camp for All. And you can get all the information there for those of you new units who are doing this and want a step-by-step guide. Actually, the Start Camp for All page has literally step-by-step, and it has everything you need to send messages out to people, to text people, things like that, to help support our amazing, incredible camps and give our scouts a first-class, world-class, incredible camp experience every single year, and to get more kids to camp. That's really what it's all about, is to get every scout to camp. So check that out. Also, if you are interested in getting a team together and you want to go shoot some shotguns and to have an incredible couple of days, join us for the Kerr Contractors Sporting Clays Shootout. It is in May. It is awesome. If you're at all interested in shotgun shooting and golf, it's kind of like the combination of both. So check it out at cpcbsa.org/shootout. There's some video there. You'll see what it's all about. There is a barbecue, there is an auction. If you just want to be a sponsor and have some auction items there, that'd be awesome. Super helpful for us, of course, too, and for our scouts. So that'd be awesome. Just check it out at cpcbsa.org/shootout. Also, another opportunity to just leave an incredible legacy. We have, I believe there's just a couple of bunkhouses left to sponsor, to put your name on it or your family's name on it. Just contact Mike Egan if you're interested in this. These are so wonderful. These staff bunkhouses that are built are just awesome, and you can just be a part of this legacy. Really an awesome opportunity. And you can contact Mike Egan at michael.egan, that's EGAN, @scouting.org for more information on that. There is a new marketing campaign that is kicking into gear. It's called Adventure On. This is awesome. There are some great materials. You can go to cpcbsa.org/marketing for materials on this. National is building out resources and assets for it. We'll be building some as well. Of course, all of our grit assets are there too. Some really fun materials you can use to promote your scout unit and all the adventures you're going to be going on this year. You can check that out at cpcbsa.org/marketing. And also, one of the last things here, just quickly, the Norwest Scout Shop is having a whale of a sale this weekend. You can get 20% off a whole bunch of camping gear. So if you're ramping up, as we talk about summer camp today, and you need a new sleeping bag, I actually was down there just a couple of days ago and saw sleeping bags for sale. It was a sweet deal for these mummy bags. Anyway, so go to the cpcbsa.org/scout shop page, and you can get the information there in terms of when they're open. You can give them a call and all of that. It's at cpcbsa.org/scout shop. Already, we are ready to rock and roll here with summer camp updates, and Mr. Todd McDonald is in, which woohoo, we were having some technical difficulties. Thank you, Chris, for doing that while I was doing this. So really appreciate it. It's amazing, isn't it? Sometimes we've been doing this for how long now? It's like a millennia. It seems like we've been doing Zoom calls. So it's always something. But anyway, really appreciate it. Oh, by the way, I did want to mention, you see the shirt I'm wearing? Because I'm not wearing my Scouty shirt. If you have joined Scouts this year, you need to reach out to your Scoutmaster or your district executive and get one of these shirts. We have Cub Scout ones and Scout BSA ones. The Cub Scout ones say grit starts here. It's kind of fun. See, it's got a little thing there. It's really great. It's got a mountain, little tents, stuff. It's really kind of fun. And they're bright red, they're retail red, as we like to say, so everybody can see your Scout. But anyway, make sure you get one of those. That's fantastic. I keep forgetting. I've had these shirts in here and I keep forgetting to mention it. So, all right, let's kick it off here. Todd and Chris are here to give us all of the information, the latest and greatest for Scout Camp, summer camp. And so thanks for joining us, guys. And thanks to all who are joining us here and on Facebook. And I'll let you guys take it away.
All right. Thanks a lot, Chris. We're so excited about summer camp this summer. I know, especially in the middle of the winter, and of course, with everything that, that we're dealing with regard to all the COVID stuff and trying to figure out in this surge and trying to figure out when to meet and all that stuff. And as our minds go to summer, it's like, oh, I can't wait. It's just going to be finally, we can start to feel maybe a sense of normalcy and be able to get outdoors and, do all these cool things. Let's go to the next slide here. As we start to think about it, we really, as a council, have put, our name, our superpower, or whatever, providing, first-class summer camp opportunities for all of our Scouts, and we're so lucky that we have these amazing, beautiful facilities and rich traditions of program and a lot of different activities. But more often than not, it's just a bunch of our Scouts get out to camp and kind of let their hair down a little bit and experience the outdoors and each other for a period of time where they can just enjoy, outside of their normal environment, and maybe even be challenged with some adventure activities and hopefully, maybe earn some advancement towards their next rank. Next slide. So, as far as the working assumptions go, our current guidelines are posted and given to us on November 17th. And we all know that that things can still change. I should state that it is unlikely that the current state guidelines here in Oregon are going to be more restrictive by summer. I would imagine that they will be maybe even less restrictive. But as it stands now, we believe that you're going to experience something that's not completely normal, back to footloose and fancy free, without any COVID, mitigation at all, but far closer to normal than we experienced last summer, and maybe even than what you're experiencing in your current program. We still have some things that we'll be dealing with. We're excited about we'll still be doing a staggered check-in process. We like it for two different reasons. One, because it helps separate and create the bunching. And for the first time in years, we have a pretty much across the board positive reviews of our check-in process, because you show up, we know you're coming, we're ready for you. We streamline that process so it moves quickly, and you don't have to wait your turn in line as you're in a parking lot full of people waiting to get in the front door. So we're excited about continuing that on, probably even past the COVID mitigation things. We're not exactly sure. We're not ready to commit to how we're going to deal with dining. We know right now that we cannot do a buffet style food. They would prefer that all the food is still plated at this stage. And so that can have some definite challenges in dining hall. Now Baldwin, and it's a camping style of cooking for yourself will not have any real changes there, other than we are looking at possibly doing a few more camp-wide meals as a potential thought as we start to negotiate through the dining program at Baldwin. And we start thinking about, what the mitigation steps are going to be like. It's probably, imagine that you come into camp and you get checked into your campsite. And so everywhere you go, you kind of have your mask in your pocket. If you're all of a sudden in a situation where your group is going to mix with other groups, indoors, outdoors, then, you'll toss on your mask, especially if you have some comorbidities or some compromised people will want to make sure that they're being extra careful with that. So for instance, like if you go into your merit badge, the scout will hopefully with a buddy, go to their merit badge, down this, and they come in and they'll probably check in, they'll put on their mask and sit down. And depending on how many people are in that in there and whether their ability to social distance will determine whether or not that merit badge will need to wear a mask through the entire time of that class. But if you're going to be, interacting on a picnic table with a bunch of people from, different places, we'll want to watch out for that. We still will do daily screenings. We'll probably still, and we'll still have COVID tests that we can give out there if people have symptoms and the like. So kind of look at like that. It's not likely that we're going to ask you to be in cohorts. The current guidelines do not ask for it, and we don't anticipate that changing. So essentially, scouts will be able to bounce around with them and their buddy pretty much wherever they want to go in camp, including trading post and dining hall, as long as they're wearing a mask whenever they're indoors, especially. We want to make sure that each and every one of you are making good choices for you and your families as you do scouting right now and manage your risks. We'll try to do our best to let you know what they are, but I think we'll be pretty much in the place where we will do our level best to make summer camp look like it has been in the past, with a little bit more mask wearing at different places. Actually, one of our biggest challenges right now that is going to be program dependent. People ask, are you going to open up all your areas and do everything like you've done before? That's our plan. But nationwide, we have a staffing shortage for summer camps, and it's not just scouts. Chris Harold and I are working closely with the ACA, the American Camping Association, and other groups, and we're finding across the board, finding staff is just a challenge. So anything that you guys can do to send your 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old camp scouts our way, or even if you as an adult would like to come and spend a week or two or the entire summer, we definitely have places for you in all of our camps. So please help us there. We actually have information later about that. So next.
Hey, it's later.
Hey, there we go. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, extra points if you're a medic or a food service magician or a climbing instructor or bikes instructor or shooting sports, any of these things. If it's an area of interest, we're able to provide training as well to help you get up to speed on those things. So we are looking for all those positions at this point. We have some for some of the camps of those director positions, but we haven't even gotten to the interviews yet, and a couple juicy applications came in today. So that was good news, but we are really actively seeking those folks. So if you have connections, scouts, former scouts, any of that, camp runs based on the quality of staff we can find. And so we're turning over all the rocks right now to make sure we find that quality staff. Interviews are coming up. the camp staff interviews are coming up Saturday, February 5th. And the application is at the link on the bottom right of the screen there, that's cpcbsa.org/campstaff for those who are just listening to the audio version of this, cpcbsa.org/campstaff. And the application is located there. It's a simple application process. The interviews themselves are going to be done via Zoom. And so that's a process that we figured out, which for those traveling from a distance and for some of our camp staff who are located all around the country and our interviewers, it allows us all to get together in our Zoom rooms and take care of the interview process there. So I'm excited for the leadership that each of our camps has to this point right now. We're in great shape there and have some really strong leaders at our camps. And I'm confident in their ability to get our staffs put together and trained well and prepared for the summer, because we want to serve really well. Next slide, please. We plan to communicate well. So with what Todd was talking about with those working assumptions, they're assumptions, right? And so there's a lot that's not known quite yet. And I know our camp directors are challenged by the idea that they want to give you all the information that you need to do your planning. And also they want to give you the correct information. And those two things, I mean, if they said, oh yeah, the schedule is going to look like this today, who knows for sure that it would look like this tomorrow. So we've got some solutions to that to try and keep everybody in the loop, everybody well informed. And the pattern of information that you can expect from us is each month, in the middle of the month, there'll be an email that comes out just bringing you up to speed on whatever updates. Now that is for the person who is registered in Tentaroo. So if it's the scoutmaster or committee chair who are no longer part of your trooper pack, you want to get that fixed because we want you to get that information delivered to you. And you can also add additional people to the camp email list so that everybody's receiving the correct information promptly. And so there's the mid-month email. There's these webinars, as Chris mentioned earlier, and we're mentioning now, that happen on the last Wednesday of every month between now and camp. And the updates will keep the website updated as well. The camp directors have said that they can get the leader's guide type information up around the 1st of April. And that's not an April Fool's. That's we can get that there, which is a little earlier than last year for sure. And also that we hope to overachieve on that target right there. The other thing is how that guide looks may be a little different. Last summer, a couple of our camps experimented with a thing called a camp portal, which is essentially a very specific website to that camp. So you have the most current up-to-date information. It would, for example, it would talk about the next week's campsite assignments would be posted right there so that you would have that information. So those summer camp portals are currently getting filled up with the information, and those will be released as soon as they're in a presentable form. So we're hopeful for getting that information as quickly as we can. And always, if you have questions in the meantime, that email address in the bottom right corner, 492.camping@scouting.org, will get you answers. That's a great spot to go for answers when you can't find it in any of the regular places. So thanks for that. So we want to communicate well. Next slide. So what do I do now? Maybe a question that you're asking as a leader. And basically this list of things on the screen are the things to do, and the upcoming deadlines. Note that, Chris, would you be able to put the link for adding additional leaders to the email list in our chat, please, so that we can get that out to everybody. If you have additional leaders to add, that'd be a good thing to see. So look for that showing up in the chat. We've already talked about making sure the correct person or people are in your Tentaroo primary contact. That's the person who gets the bills and all that sort of thing as well. the pay dates, we've kept the March 1st date for knowing for going from the $10 a person to $100 a person deposit for camp and having those numbers firm. It's important on multiple levels. One, it allows planning for our summer camp, so we order the right number of t-shirts and you and are good stewards of the funds that we are trusted with. And two, it allows those people, there's currently about, I think, 300 people on the waiting list wanting to come to camp, but there's no room for them at their spot that when they can make that work. And so when people change their reservation numbers or correct those reservation numbers at that March 1st deadline, it allows us to open up spots that become available and for them to plan their summer as well. So that's March 1st, first deadline. Second deadline is May 1st. And notice that that's $100 a person deadline for Cub Scouts there. And then, so that's a little bit different between Cub Scouts and Scouts BSA. Cub Packs have a little bit more time to do some of their planning. June 1st is the early bird deadline. And that's if you have all your fees paid, then you get a kaboon, you get camp bucks, you get discounts, things of that sort. But really the ultimate deadline is 2 weeks before camp, all fees should be paid. And there you go. So there's our timeline for now. Todd, anything to add to that?
Yeah, the best practice at this point here is for all units to make sure you're reaching out to your youth now and asking for them to make a commitment of that $100 and letting them know that you know that this is a real thing that you need to do now, and collecting that so that you can make a good decision as to what you want to say March 1st. Because if you say, you know, if you only have 10 people who have signed up or have paid you that $100, but you have 30 people who say they're going, you're going to be out, a lot, I don't know, what is that, 20 times 100. So I mean, that's a lot of money. And so you got to make sure that you have a really good idea here. I have a concern, and people have communicated to me about the fact that, especially during COVID, but also March is a tough time to try to best understand what your Webelos need is going to be. I still would reach out and develop those relationships and try to get them to commit. If this is a real difficult to you for some reason, maybe we can work something out. But for the most part, we really need to stick to this deadline. I want you to know that before this, we had units that signed up for 30 people and then never showed and then never paid any deadline fee. And so not only did the council be out that money, it prevented 30 some kids from being able to go. And so that's why we put this in, is to try to ask you all to work with us, and so that we can best work together to plan it. If you really are running into challenges, don't hesitate to reach out to Chris or myself or our camping staff here, and we'll see what we can do to help you as long as we work together. I'm sure that we'd be far better able to talk if you paid most of that $100 fee by March 1st or May 1st. That we can so that we can have that discussion. Anyway, there you go.
Great. Next slide. Well, here's a fun one.
So as you notice that we communicated earlier, if you didn't get the email, we're sorry, or communicated here that we had to increase the fees for summer camp. And I've been around this council for a long time, and I can't think of any time when we've ever had to do this. We typically, set the fees about 2 years prior to camp. In fact, we're kind of delayed getting 2023 out because we want to make sure that we make good decisions on the fees for that year. But in the middle of that time, we experienced a lot of change, and one was the supply costs food and other supplies. Some of that was transportation logistics. Some of it is during COVID, we need to get different equipment and things. Also, in the past, we've been able to get, last summer, we were able to get some grant to help us pay for the tests and other things. And we don't think we're going to get that this year. But the biggest thing is, and anybody who's watched the news or talked to anybody, especially anybody on the West Coast that runs a camp in the wilderness, all of us, insurance have gone up like, I don't know, 5-10 times what they were. Because of the wildfire risk has changed our actuarial code. In fact, just so you know, our insurance dropped us. And so we had to go find a new insurance so that we could even operate this summer. So these are the main reasons. And when we started doing all the math and all those things, we were running into a real sustainability issue. And so that's why we had to do that. So just let us know. We hate to think that money is a reason why people don't come to camp. So if that is an issue, please reach out to us and we will do what we can to help. For those of you within the Cascade Pacific Council, we do have actually increased the amount of scholarships that are available, especially on the Cub Scout side. We had a special grant coming to help just for Cub Scouts, but we've actually extended the scholarship funds for all of our scouts this next year. You know, Chris, I'd like to use this moment here because we've had some people reach out to me that were concerned about the fact that there is the out of council fees and the in council fees were different. I think it's important to hear, very much for similar reasons for the scholarships, is that we have funds that help offset the cost for only our scouts to go to camp. And so instead of thinking it as an out of council fee, we actually have an in council discount. It comes across and it looks weird, I suppose, but just understand that that's the reason why the money that it would take to bridge that gap is actually coming from outside funds to help our camps run. So just want to kind of let you know that as the reason why those are different. And if you haven't noticed, for our Scout BSA camps, is that we've done our fees in such a way that if you come on the kind of the fringe weeks, is much less expensive than if you go during the prime weeks. And that is just to help spread out the people and also provide lower cost camping opportunities for those who need it. All right, next slide. So now go ahead and go to the next slide here, since we talked about this. We're excited about, if you haven't been to our camps, we have all new wash stands and flush toilets and flushing outhouses and new shower houses. And I mean, all of it, especially Butte Creek has got all this cool stuff, all new mini decks. Everybody gets a new mini deck. And we've updated the shower housing things and all that. And it's really ready for an outstanding summer. And as I look at Butte Creek, and there are some concerns that we're not opening up Clark, I want to rest people's assurances that we're only not open. We only went to one camp this summer because the feedback we were getting is that we couldn't fill them both. And also we know that Camp Clark has been very popular for families to just come and want to camp during the summer. In addition to other revenue opportunities that we're looking at this summer. So we focused in on Butte Creek as a Cub Scout resident camp and let Camp Clark continue on to spend time this summer to be a family camping activity where your families can come in and just check out a campsite and the like. But think about this, as our kids get to go back to Butte Creek, and they get to see the Cosmic Cowboy is going to be there in this Wild West tradition. They're going to, sing their way in to the dining hall as they're going to get their food. They're going to have the mails going to show up on the Pony Express. Bad Bart's going to come and steal the spirit of scouting or something. And, the Cosmic Cowboy is going to help during their time to help do that.
Save the day.
Yeah, there'll be, I mean, so, hot days, slipping, a Slurpee and playing games, shooting a BB gun, panning for gold, and and also the outstanding horse programs there that the Butte Creek is going to have happen there through an amazing staff of people who your kids really want to look up to, that will help really enthrall their experience for the year. Something that both you as a parent and the kids in scouting year after year is telling me it's a highlight of their year. Go ahead, next slide.
Camp
Go ahead,
Baldwin.
Chris.
Yeah, Camp Baldwin. You know, both Todd and I have really fond memories of this place. Did a lot of growing up there, and you know, it's tremendous. I love Camp Baldwin on so many fronts. And this summer, I'm looking forward to seeing scouts learn to cook, for crying out loud. Talk about a life skill. If you've got young scouts, this is the best place for them to learn to cook, because the gear is great, the food's provided, the instructions are provided, and you get to. I remember my son bringing me maybe mentioned this in a webinar at one point, but one of the first pancakes he made was at Camp Baldwin, and he showed it to me. And I was like, kind of charred, and he was so excited. It had Skittles in it. and so the Skittles pancakes can be done they can be creative chefs at Camp Baldwin, but when they're not chefing, there's so much other stuff there as well. We're excited at Camp Baldwin about just about the warm days, the swimming, the fishing is fantastic at Camp Baldwin, the craft areas, of course, the horse corral, the bikes area there, be able to do some mountain biking. Not a mountain bikes course, it's more trail riding there. They've got the mountain boards, so it's like a skateboard but on a hill, and that's with, you know, not on a road or anything. So that's pretty cool. And we're excited to see these programs just come back into their own, you know, come back to the places where I forgot the rock climbing, natural rocks. And that is a spectacular place to learn how to rock climb and rappel. Really, the whole place is just a wonderful setting. Smells like pine perfume, just that piney stuff, just that, and dust. There's a little dust there, get in your veins when you're at Camp Baldwin. So we're excited to have people coming back there. And I think we're meant coming back to Baldwin in just a second about the Webelos program. So let's move to the next slide for now.
Everybody, pretty much Camp Meriwether has been a tried and true camp, you know, since 1926, and is really looking forward to from everybody. And to me, you know, that time where you just kind of come over and you're coming from Portland, let's say, and you're going through the wilderness, and you're coming through the wilderness, and then you come through, then all of a sudden out of nowhere you see the majesty of Pacific Ocean, and you smell that salty salty air, and you hear that roar of the ocean, and the wonderful temperate forest, and comfortable temperatures, and just so many things that you can do there. Again, it's more than just every outhouse is now flushing, and there's new wash stands, and everybody can sleep in a bunk with a mini deck or whatnot. But there's also our amazing lakefront. We've got a climbing tower that's really cool to climb on and do all sorts of activities. We have 25 shooting lanes in archery and rifle, and our own shooting sport. I mean, shooting sports there is just crazy. The shotgun range is great. We have throwers aplenty out there to get people through, and then of course our Fort Clatsop black powder range, and blacksmithing, and all sorts of activities there to celebrate the actual the replica of the Fort Clatsop that Lewis and Clark stayed in when they wintered here in Oregon. And then of course our new mountain bike trail that is really cool and has different levels of experience and all that. And again, once again, we'll have brand new bikes to be able to use there. And then finally, I mean, the beach, sleeping on the beach, having fires on the beach. And now our only camp in the country that I know of that has land sails, where you can ride a cart using the power of the wind up and down the beach. Looking forward to a wonderful experience there at Camp Meriwether, and so excited be able to get out there, smell the smoke, and the salty air, and wearing that sweatshirt at night when the fog comes in, and
Right,
seeing
it's
the
air
majestic.
conditioned, isn't it?
Yeah, very good.
Oh, and
All
the
right.
lake's full. I was there at right by
Yeah.
right next to the new nature center.
Yeah, that lake, spring fed, but it all depends on winter rain, and it's definitely going to be a fuller lake this year. So, all right, next one. Chris, go ahead.
Camp Pioneer. Love when you get out of the car at Camp Pioneer, and again, driving through the wilderness for a significant chunk of time, and you pop out of your car and you walk over like the lowest of rises, because the whole place is fairly flat, the camp itself, and you see the epic view of, first you see a lake, right? And then reflected in that lake, you see Mount Jefferson. And if you raise your vision just a little higher, there's just Mount Jefferson just centered right there. And that's like the first impression of Camp Pioneer. And it just gets better from there. Between the STEM stuff that they are able to offer, the STEM activities, their staff. One of the things I like about Camp Pioneer is the size of the camp. So it's compact, and the size of the staff also, and the number of campers we're able to have, keep everything kind of close and a little more personal than some of the larger camps. And it's not that the other ones are impersonal. I mean, camp staff are joyful people wherever you go, but there's a spirit of that. You get to pretty much get to know all the camp staff at Pioneer, and they get to know all the campers at Camp Pioneer, which is a joy. So the waterfront activities, and again, the fishing are spectacular at Camp Pioneer for our Scouts BSA. All the campsites located around the edge of the lake. You're at about 4,500 feet there, which is an interesting thing that I always seem to watch in the fall for the first snow to come around Sandy M Pass. If it's snowing at Sandy M Pass, it's snowing at Camp Pioneer, and it is, and it just gets feet and feet and feet of snow, particularly this year. And so it's great. And then any steps you take outside of Camp Pioneer on 3 of the 4 sides, you're walking into the Mount Jefferson National Wilderness Area. And so you have a huge opportunities for some additional hiking and outings from camp itself. It's just immediately adjacent. And I know I keep using lots of adjectives, but if you've not been to Camp Pioneer, please go to Camp Pioneer.
Yeah, it's
You'll thank
really,
yourself.
the other thing I think of too is when you go hiking out to those lakes and those, I mean, they still, even though there's trails out there and all that, it's just, you and your little group get out there and pretty much all by yourself, looking at the beauty of the wilderness out there, and you get to learn a lot about how to protect our wilderness from them as well. All in the timberline of Mount Jefferson. So it's a little bit higher elevation, but than as our highest elevations summer camp, but it's a pretty amazing experience. So, all right, next one.
There we go. I knew we were coming back to this.
Yeah, I have. This is some people say, well, what why didn't you just do a Weeblos program at Camp Clark? And the real issue, I mean, the thing that I am excited about is that I've always wanted to make sure our Weeblos had the ability to do things that they don't currently get to do at our camps, like swimming, boating. We're going to upscale their rifle by shooting pellet guns. And again, a little bit more, big boy stuff when it comes to archery and trail riding and mountain biking and all the activities that are around there. We'll still have crafts, and we'll still have games, and we'll still have some nature stuff and all that. But we're going to be able to really focus, especially on their advancement stuff, because a lot of Weeblos advancement stuff needs some of the more Boy Scout or Scout BSA or size things to be able to do them at. And the other thing too is that we're really excited to be able to offer them the opportunity to cook. Now, obviously, the parents that will go with them will have to be right there with them when they're cooking, but to help them. But My guess is that the kids are going to be far more excited about, cooking over these amazing, top of the line cooking equipments, 3-burner Camp Chef stoves with stainless steel pots and pans and all the things that you need to be able to cook stuff. And they'll really get the feeling of what it's like. And we're hoping to tailor that entire weekend so that the Weeblos will go, I really want to be a Boy Scout. Or going to Scout BSA. I want to join a troop, and we're going to do everything we can to make that happen.
I'm also really excited about this program because there's been it solves any number of challenges that scouts have transitioning to Scouts BSA from Webelos. There's a lot of things that when you're at that age, I don't know what it's going to be like. I don't know what gear to get. I don't know what I don't know what the summer camp is going to be like that's different. And do I want to go there without my parents? And so here's a really nice way to step up the experience and to help them transition to Scouts BSA in a way that they can still be very challenged, but be more comfortable about what that would look like. What would that be like? And that's I think giving them that foundation, that base camp Baldwin will provide is really an exciting piece of us. With all our camps, we have really the primary objective is to make our packs and our troops stronger for the whole rest of the year. I mean, we do that working with individual scouts for sure, but we want the pack to come together at Butte Creek and enjoy that experience. And then the Webelos can go camping twice. It's a wonderful thing. There's nothing that says you can't do that. And then the troops, we want the troops to go back and have a great rest of their year as well and come back from our camps stronger. So that at all of our camps, that's the focus, that's the target. We're working with our camp directors and program directors already to make sure that to ask ourselves that question about pretty near every activity we try to do at camp. How is this going to make the pack better? How is this going to make the troop better? So enough of that, I guess.
Yeah,
Let's go.
We're really excited about what this is going to be. Obviously, it is a new program for us, but we're putting a lot into this to ensure, and we're only running 2 sessions, but we can offer larger groups at Baldwin as well. So we fully intend to be able to do this, and maybe in the depending on how this all works out, that we can offer up more opportunities throughout the summer at Baldwin. So.
Great. So we're at the point where if you have questions and you'd like to put those in the chat, we can answer those for you. Hopefully you've got what you need by listening in today in terms of the timelines for leading up to camp, what some of the unique features of our different camps. If you're still on the fence and haven't decided which one to go to just yet, there is room at all the camps at this point. And I don't think we mentioned that each of the camps this summer is planned for a reduced capacity, which is on purpose. It's related to basically to making sure we're in a good position, whatever COVID does. But it does mean that there's a little less competition for all the things, for all the features of camp, right? There's a little less pressure on all the program areas of camp. And so there's lots of room. In fact, you may want to look for one of those weeks if you haven't signed up yet, where there's not very many people signed up, because that gives you the run of the place in a real way. Chris, are you seeing any questions on Facebook?
I was just going to say, I don't see any questions here. I was just going to share with folks that if you are interested, you can just go to cpcbsa.org here. I'll pull this up because it is kind of fun to be able to get a taste of what all the camps are about. And there's photography. There's just a whole bunch of resources there. It's really great. Here, let me just pull this up and share with folks. Just jump over here and jump onto the website. You can go under adventures and you can see summer camps. And then they have there's a main page with all the reservations. You can click on that and that'll actually show you all of the dates that are available. Just go down here.
Do me a favor and scroll lower, because there's Scouts BSA and then the Cub Scout camps right below all that. And
Right.
sometimes there's a question of
Great point.
where's the Cub Reservations?
Yep. So we've got it here as well. It's all mobile friendly, so you should be able to look at that. You just click on these little drop downs here, and it'll this little accordion, if you will, and it'll show you the dates of availability. The Camp Baldwin Adventure is there as well. So that's under reservations, just right under the reservations tab here under adventures and summer camps reservations. But if you want to check out just the regular camps themselves, each page, as I like to say, likes to sell it. So each page this should give you a taste. If you haven't experienced these camps, just like Chris and Todd were saying, we've got videos and photos, and you just really get a taste of what it's all about. It really is epic. There's the real rocks that Chris was talking about, and the horses. I mean, it is really, really incredible. And we are just so grateful to have these incredible places. If you haven't been to Butte Creek, for instance, you can check that out. As Todd was saying, we've got new mini Adirondacks there. It is really fun. There's a huge herd of horses. If your kids are even remotely interested, it is going to be incredible. We have animals there to pet and play with, and fishing, and it is just absolutely fantastic. So please check it out on the website there. You'll just get a taste of it, and send your scouts, your leaders, just to there, and they'll get a real sense of what it's all about. And of course, each of those pages, you can make your reservation. There's directions on how to get there. And also, when the portals are launched, we'll have links to that as well. They're going to be really fantastic. Those leader portals are amazing. They're super rich in terms of the content they will have. It will get all of you as leaders and parents super prepared for what's to come. And so that will be updated and fresh, and we'll have those launched here shortly as well. So let me just double check here, see if there are any other questions. I don't believe so. Let's see.
There's one here
Yeah.
from Facebook. Well, one came about t-shirts. In the past, we offered free t-shirts for the payment deadline and early bird, and it was really problematic. And we ended up having some huge customer service issues being able to transition, getting those t-shirts ordered and in their hands prior to them coming to camp. So we've and now too that we moved that deadline from that deadline from May to June, so that now that gives you a little bit more time. But there's no way we could get you the shirts between June and camp. So what we've done is that we have a camp. We have this basically swag bag, if you will, that will give discounts and camp bucks so that you can go into the trading post and buy things there. So that's kind of what that's all about.
Yeah, and Todd, the early bird discount, when people make their reservation, that's typically end of August, correct?
That's at end of August. So we're talking about the early payment deadline.
Right.
Which is June 1st.
Slightly different. And just to clarify, Robert was asking about the shirts. I'm wondering, early on, we were talking about the grit shirts that Chris has on. Is that
right?
How do you get those, Chris? You're muted.
Great question. Yeah, so if you are new to scouting, we've got these great shirts, and you can just ask your adult leader and have them ask their district executive. That's the way to do it. They'll hand them over to you, and get your hands on one of those. That would be fantastic.
Cool.
All right, so there's a question on Facebook. It's a really good question. So it's talking about the difference between the $100 payment deadline and the non-refundable deadline. Mm-hmm. And what we mean by that is that at a certain point, if you have 10 people signed up for camp, March 1st or May 1st, depending on if you're a Cub Scout, this particular case, it'd be May 1st as a Cub Scout, then you would owe on that day of May 1st or March 1st, if you have 10 scouts, you owe $1,000. You make sure, so you've probably paid $100 so far to get that reservation up, but now you'd need to pay more on that day to secure that. Now that $1,000 is not refundable. Okay, so it's just not refundable. That is, we're going to spend that money right away. because we got to buy all sorts of stuff for camp and all that stuff too. And so then the next deadline after that, if you just choose, all right, there's now a June 1st deadline. June 1st deadline is only an incentive deadline, which means if you pay in full by that date, then we will give you a swag bag with camp bucks and discounts. Finally, the last and the most important deadline in all of this, not that the $100 deadline isn't important, but 2 weeks prior to going to camp, if you, let's say that you've paid all your fees except for one because you're waiting to hear back for that one family, and you don't tell us that until the day you arrive at camp, you still owe us 100% of the fee, even if they didn't come. Right? You need to notify us, make sure your numbers are correct 2 weeks prior to you coming to camp, because you're going to be asked to pay for all of those numbers. Obviously, the main reason is this is somewhere in there we're going to have to make a food order, and in some cases need to make sure that we're right on supplies, and so that's what a lot of that's all about. Now, if for some reason you have something that happens, then you will need to, then you can, when you get to camp, you can fill out a refund request form and let us know. And if it's COVID related, all right, then don't worry, we're going to go ahead and take care of that too. So, and so just make sure that 2 weeks prior to your arriving, that your numbers are correct and that you're paid in full. The best piece of advice I can get to anybody is make sure you pay for all your youth and adults 2 weeks prior to coming to camp. Because then you show up and you say, okay, you got everybody? Yep. Or we're missing somebody. Okay, here's a refund request form, fill that out. But okay, I saw you're all paid in full. Okay, here's the screening questions. All right. Here's what you need to go do next. Go. You might not even have to get out of the car. Right? But if you're sitting there going, no, we owe money. Well, okay. So here's what you're gonna need to do. You're gonna need to go see this person at this point and go ahead and take care of this and make sure that you get all the things. So it's much better to get that all done 2 weeks before you go. I'm hoping, Melissa, I have answered your question. And so if not, don't hesitate to reach out to me directly.
Some great. I'm not seeing any others coming into the chat or whatnot. So I think we're doing pretty good here. Let's I'm going to cancel sharing this screen here. And so if anybody else has any questions, you can throw it into the chat or in the Q&A there. And yeah, we will go from there, but it looks like we're looking pretty good here. So thanks everybody for joining in. Like we'd mentioned before, that we are having these summer camp update webinars at the last Wednesday of the month leading into summer camp. So we'll continue these, and just as things change or evolve or whatnot or not, and as we just hone in on more of the program and everything else, then you'll get your latest and greatest updates. And again, watch your email, because we'll also send emails for all of these communications that are going to be going out. And of course, go to cpcbsa.org to make your reservation and see what's available. And because there are some of the sessions have been filling up, so there is a lot of availability, but some are filling up. So you're going to want to get in on that as soon as possible and discuss it with your scouts and your scout unit and your parents and whatnot. So check that out at cpcbsa.org. Go up to the adventures tab and then reservations there at summer camp, and you'll find that information as well. Any other thoughts? I know that our scouts, we were just talking about it last night, that we're super excited. We're going to Meriwether. We love Pioneer. We love it all. And just as Chris and Todd were saying, each one is unique and special. Hopefully you see that from the videos we were showing. It really is special, and we're really, really grateful to get back at it. So any other thoughts, guys? Oh,
I
Chris,
gotta tell you, I know Chris was actually out at Meriwether this weekend, and I'm so looking forward to being able to see scouts and experiencing our amazing wilderness programs and activities as we put together these programs this summer. And I just encourage everybody to work to get everybody you can out in the outdoors this summer with us, because it's going to be spectacular, and it's going to be something that I think really all of our scouts need. They just need this experience. They need it more than maybe we do, but maybe not only just a little bit. So, let us know how we can better help you get everybody to go.
Yeah, what he said.
And finally, I mean, really, if money is an issue, please don't hesitate to reach out. I don't know what we can do for out of council people, but still, just let us know. Definitely in council, we have these resources and funds I've mentioned before. So please just let us know what we can do.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Great reminder. And also, folks, we do have our spring snack attack is going on for a fundraiser as well. So go to cpcbsa.org/snack attack. The training sessions have begun. So this is underway. It's like happening right now. So if you don't know anything about that, you can check that out. It is also a great way to raise some money for your scouts or your scout unit too. And but yes, don't ever let the money be an issue, because we would love to, our objective is to get every single scout to camp. So that is the goal. We know that 85% of Cub Scouts join because they want to go camping. So let's get them out there. I know even for the adults, such an important, awesome time to just unplug, connect with your kids, and just have an incredible time at the beach or in the mountains. So
I want to be there now.
yeah, exactly. Might be a
go.
little snowy, but I don't mind. I was just up there. It's great.
Yeah, great.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks, gang, for joining us. Really appreciate it. And we will have more webinars as well. We're going to do one next week on why scouting. And it's just going to be inspiring, I think, of why the heck we do all this stuff. And we've got a whole bunch of webinars coming up as well. And we'll have more to you in the CPC. If you're in the Cascade Pacific Council, you get your email newsletter on Thursdays from us. It has all the latest and greatest. Know that you have, if you're in Scouts BSA, you get a different newsletter than if you're in Cub Scouts. So we're trying to hone in on that, give you the information that you need, as well as deadlines and all of that. So check that out in your email tomorrow. Thanks so much, gang, for joining us. Really appreciate it. Thanks for all the questions. And we will see you all next week.